Welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to talk about the Nordic Council Literature Prize winners. So what is the Nordic Council? Well, it's a collaboration between the Nordic countries. I believe there's 87 members in it, and those 87 members, they choose 10 people to give this award to a writer. It could be poetry, it could be a play, it could be a novel, it could be anything written, it seems. And I think this is the highest hanging literary award you can win in the Nordics. And so naturally, when I began this channel, I thought looking into this award would help me understand what is Nordic literature, and if I were to choose Nordic literature or Nordic books, I should start here. And so I sort of did. So this is just a walkthrough of books I've read and what I think about them. The first winner I ever read was Tarja Vesaas, and this is The Ice Palace, which I read a couple of years ago. I truly loved it. Tarja Vesaas has been one of my favorite authors throughout the years, and The Ice Palace is about two girls and then one disappearing and the love they have for each other, or love in general. It's a beautiful book, and this won in the 60s, so this is one of the first ever winners of this award. I didn't know that it had won, but after I read it, I discovered that it had. Then we have to jump to 2002, I think, and Lars Saabye Christensen and The Half-Brother. I read quite a few of Lars Saabye Christensen's books when I grew up. He's a Norwegian author, and he had written about four boys that liked the Beatles, so I felt like I could relate. This book is it begins with a woman being raped on Liberation Day after the Second World War, and then giving birth to a boy, which then is the half-brother. And I don't remember all that much. I remember it being depressing and that I liked it. But since it's almost 20 years since I read it, I should probably read it again if I want to rediscover it. But the thing is, I think that book is sort of what I imagined the Nordic Council Literature Prize to be, together with these two winners. So this is Monica Fagerholm and Who Killed Bambi, and this is Merete Lindström and Days in the History of Silence, I guess the English title is. And these three books are mostly about looking back into the past and one incident that scarred them for life. I'm not saying they're bad books, but they're books that just makes me depressed. But it's also I'm getting slowly depressed, so it's not like there's a intensity to the story. It's more intensity in the sorrow or the sadness, and that makes me sad. And I guess at some point I began thinking that I don't want to read many more of these books if they're all in that area. If I'm being totally honest, I think that before I read quite a few of these books, I imagined the Nordic Council Literature Prize to be kinda depressing is one word, sad is another, but also we are a people of not the most positive, and also being introverted as a whole. If you go to a bus stop here in Norway and try to stand next to another person, that person will probably move. It's sort of in that vibe. So I thought most of these books would make me kind of sad, and I was not completely mistaken. So one of the books I really wanted to read is the 2001 winner of this award, Valley of Flowers, Flower Valley, something along those lines, by Nivia Corneliussen. This is a novel about Greenland and this place where people kill themselves all the time, and the Flower Valley is where they're buried. So this is a famous place for people that have committed suicide. It's about that theme, and it was a bit too depressing and too real, too close to not home, but everyday life. It's no extraordinary events. It's more like I'm going in this more and more depressing direction. And similar to this one is The Prophet of the Turnal Fjord by Kim Leine. He has written a lot of he has written about his own life in many of his books. This is a historical fiction from Greenland, or traveling to Greenland. And this is also a lot of detail, it's filled with like what you eat and how you get there and what you think about people. And Kim Leine traveled to Greenland when he was a drug addict, so it's like based on stuff that's not so pleasant to think about. I don't always have a plan for these videos, and suddenly I felt like this was all becoming quite negative. Of course, it's not all that bad, and this award also gave me Jon Fosse and the trilogy. I think I would recommend this as a starting point if you want to read Jon Fosse. There's been a lot of talk about the septology since he won the Nobel Prize for Literature. I feel like this really shows you what Jon Fosse is about, and this is also 3 books collected into one, a little bit over 200 pages, so like you get through it quite quickly, and then you can decide for yourself if Jon Fosse is for me. I like having read Jon Fosse. I like Jon Fosse as a person, and also like there is something to it. But I don't feel like I get it, but I do really enjoy that I know what Jon Fosse is about when people talk about Jon Fosse. So it's the shameless side of my personality. Let's continue to talk about both trilogies and septologies. This is Solveig Balle and her calculation of volume. So this is the 3 books that won the award in 2022, but in total there is going to be 7 after what I've heard. And these I'm really enjoying since I'm already on book number 3. There has to be something there I enjoy. It's about a woman that explores the same day over and over again. It's the 18th of November and it just keeps on staying that way. This is also really slow, but it's slow in an exciting way. And I can't really put my finger on it, but you're always thinking what will happen around the next river bend, as Pocahontas once said. So I am really enjoying that one. I recently also finished this one. It's Gyrdir Eliasson, and this is Among the Trees. It's 47 short stories, yes, 47 short stories collected into this small book, and they're too short, I would say. I can't really wrap my head around them, and I keep on thinking about them, so that has to be something positive. It's like a glimpse of everyday life, or everyday life including dead people, or something extraordinary. And there is, I don't know, I can't decide. It's weird. I thought I'd end this video by talking about the 3 books I have enjoyed the most from this award, and I'll start with Sophie Oksanen and The Purge. So we are in 1992, and this young woman leaves herself on the doorstep of this older woman in Estonia. The author is Finnish, half Estonian, I guess, and it's really, really exciting. You're still in the landscape of like depressing stuff happening, but it's an exciting story, and it's more fast-paced than the rest of them. And from beginning to end, I was really, really curious of what was going to happen. So this was a very positive surprise. Based on the cover also, I didn't think this was going to end well for me and that one. But it did. Also a pleasant surprise recently was this one. It's Kjell Westö and the Wednesday Club. I've put off reading this for quite some time because I don't want to be associated with historical fiction. I think I just imagined this genre to be for men in their 60s, but apparently I'm almost there. It's set in 1938, as it says here, and you have this lawyer and his new secretary, and also, as with The Purge, you're sort of looking for what has happened in the past and what is happening now. So there is these 2 storylines almost. It's mostly about the now, but you're still wondering what has happened. Anyway, the Wednesday Club is a group of high society people mostly, and they discuss the events happening in Europe in 1938. And it's interesting to like get all sides of a conversation at the same time as you have this other plot forming. So I was really engaged and I really enjoyed it. Kjell actually published a novel in Norway, I think last month, and that novel is titled something 1941. So I guess I will be checking out that one after a while. There's one thing that's certain, and that is that I want to explore the Finnish border to Russia a bit more. I guess it seems like there's been a whole lot of good novels written about that place. And also I don't know too much about it, so that's always good. For those of you that have watched my videos for a while, you've heard me talk about this book before. It's Hotel Silence by Audur Ava Olavsdottir. It's about this 49-year-old man. He wants to commit suicide and he travels to this war-torn country and thinks that maybe he'll die, maybe he won't, but it won't be all that bad if he steps on a landmine. And I just love the plot. He goes to this country and he helps out a bunch of people. It's sort of feel good at the same time that it's quite funny. And that's the reason I love it. I'm still probably butchering her name, but Olavsdottir is Icelandic, and after reading this I bought 3 or 4 of her novels. Haven't gotten around to reading them either, but at some point I have to, because that book was really good. And it keeps popping up in my head, so that's a good thing. I think these were all the winners I've read from this award. I've read several of the nominated ones that haven't quite reached the top, and I think it's safe to say that they're not all the same, but a general theme is sadness. So I don't think you can expect to read a lot of these books and become joyful or happy. That's really not in the Nordic spirit. My plan is actually to read all of the winners ever. Like in the end, I have a lot of years ahead of me, I hope, so that will be a thing I might achieve at some point. Now you know which books I recommend you to start with if you want to. If you have read some of the winners that haven't been mentioned in this video, please comment them below if they're good, and comment below also if I should avoid them. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!